Welcome you to Monday, February 17th board meeting. At this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Brooks Matthews if he'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Father, we do thank you for this opportunity we have to be here tonight. We thank you for all that are in attendance tonight. We thank you for this day. We thank you for your many blessings that you bestowed upon us and our county. We just pray that you would be with us as we go through the business tonight and keep us all in good stead and safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, at this time, the chair would like to take a moment of privilege and explain to everybody why we're short a couple of folks tonight. Mrs. McCoy has had a death in the family and is traveling for that, and Commissioner Nickel, Chairman Nickel, was running 102-degree temperature this afternoon, so we just suggested he stay at home. Having said that, we will, is there a motion on the floor for the agenda?
Approve the agenda.
Second.
That motion has been made and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, Madam Clerk. Item number 4, the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion have been made and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, Madam Clerk. At this time, we have a special presentation. For many of you know, our mountain communities were devastated, and we had a slow response from the government. And a group of folks here in Harnett County got together and formed what's called Harnett Cares. And I want to identify that group first, who's here, the sheriff. Where you at, Wayne? Mr. Whittington, our clerk of court, Ms. Elmore from Dunn, Representative Penny, myself, a couple of other folks, Ronnie Blue, Jackie Brewington, and we put out the call. Started asking for donations of either materials, equipment, clothing, money, whatever folks were willing to donate. And we're fixing to recognize those folks because it was just amazing what they did for the people of Western North Carolina. Bear with me a minute. Mr. Ken Halliburton could not be with us tonight because of the weather. He is one of the owners of Anderson Creek Club. He was snowed in up north. Mr. Jeff Brand, are you here? Yes, sir. Please come forward, sir. If you would, if you take this back and just move down the rail toward the center there. Thanks. Ron Burgess. Mr. Burgess and his team have done a great deal. They not only made cash donations, but he took a trip to the mountains along with Mr. Temple and some other folks. And my understanding is he served over 1,500 meals. Is that correct? 3,000. Sheriff Coates, come front and center, please. Mr. Ricky Day could not join us tonight. Is there anybody here from Ricky's organization? Okay, that, would you come forward and take this? Mr. Burns, take on Mr. Burns with his wife. Donation, we just jump in the line. Ms. Beth Hales Means of Allstate agent, Dunn. She couldn't be with us tonight, but I'll put hers up here for you. Representative Harold Penny, please, sir. Yes, sir. You got a room full of those over here. Brian Rayner could not be here tonight. He's out of town on a project. Did anybody listen from Howard Paving Company? Come on up here. Barry Shepard. Scott Tardy. I don't know what happened to Mr. Tardy, but he's been here. Of course, Ricky Temple. Who was with Scott Tardy. I'll let you talk some more. Let me finish giving these out first. Seth Thompson. Okay, and I don't see Ray Wombles. Anybody here from Wombles? Okay. Before I let anybody else speak, I want to tell you a little bit about these folks. We reached out to do what you can. Donations, cash, whatever you got that you can specialize in. They raised more than $40,000 in cash. We sent another $10,000 of clothes and generators and chainsaws and everything you could think of. The cash was turned into products, drop cords, lanterns, long john socks, whatever the local folks up there told us they needed. Mr. Thompson sent an entire fleet of heavy equipment up there, a convoy up there, stayed up there a number of days, and each one of these folks did their part. And we felt like it needed a little ceremony and to recognize them, and I want to thank each one of them for asked for the floor. Well, he believes why use 500 words when 2,000 will do.
This is great advice, and I really appreciate it, but all the gratitude really goes to the citizens of Harnett County. When we went there and we had the cook team, we underestimated how much food we needed. And if the people in Harnett County had to donate somewhere around $200,000 worth of perishable goods, we would not have been able to feed the people. We fed about 3,000 people, and a lot of them eat 3 times that day. We cooked that whole tractor and trailer load of food that day. And I mean, it was just astronomical, and the people that went, the cook team, Ron, and just everybody, I mean, we cooked as hard as we could for about 14 hours. And if we hadn't been for the people of Harnett County that donated all that food, these people would have got fed. That was the first hot meal they had in 2 weeks. And my hat's off to the citizens of Harnett County.
Ron, is your cook team here?
I only have one, well, actually 2. Valerie will come up here, Ryan and his wife came.
Don't stand up and be recognized. If not, thank you very much. People of Harnett County proud of you. Thank you. Go up here and let's all get a picture. Where are you going, son? Right back. Y'all gonna have to share here.
That's the way it goes, man. You got drafted. Yeah, you did great.
3, 2, 1. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. If you will, we're going to take a 5-minute recess and let all the honorees kind of migrate out the door. I'm sure they don't want to stick around for the rest of the business stuff.
He's kicking them.
On the agenda is a public comment period. Each person will have 5 minutes, not to exceed a total of an hour. As y'all know, we have got a couple of rules, no personal attacks, no profanity, that sort of thing. The first person is Miss Elizabeth Longman.
Something different today, gentlemen. Elizabeth Longman.
There is a serious allegation in the Jameson versus Cooper lawsuit against the state that Harnett County is also named in regarding the welfare of children in custody. I came and spoke before you about potential ways to address that apart from a dismissal motion, and I would like to email that to you guys all this evening for your consideration. The reason I'm informing you about it is because it involves certain elements of separation of powers, which means that different aspects of Harnett County government are given the opportunity to weigh in on the answers. So that way we can kind of have accountability in the different factions as well as input in the different factions, because a social worker's input is going to be different than a natural parent's. A county commissioner is going to be different than perhaps the county attorneys, which, you know, is overseeing the law part of it all. So I would really like you guys to consider that. That being said, I need to let you guys know who I am and why I'm so serious about this issue. 8 years ago, Guilford County had a social worker that believed in, we'll say, different religious things than I did. As a Christian homeschooling parent, she did not agree with me on how I raised my children. And so therefore she used the law and law enforcement to legally and physically abuse me and my children. I know what jail is like. I know what physical assault by bailiffs is like. I know what intimidation, legal intimidation is like, with sheriffs over here and sheriffs over there in my adjudication, and false allegations being made against me, and having to learn the system and put in my own evidence of innocence and still not get my children back and not even get to say goodbye to them. Have PSTD, have a permanent hip injury. I know what these things are like personally, which is why I'm so passionate in not making sure that other families don't go through what I went through and what my children went through. I've not seen my children in 8 years, but in this last 8 years, I've learned the law, I've learned the policies and procedures, I've followed litigation, I've helped over 200 families in this state and other states. I've had a hand in helping change federal law and implementing on a state level. So it's not to say that I know all these things, because I don't know everything, nobody does. However, I'm very immersed in it, because I want families to get the help they need. And then also the families that can't get the help they need, those kids do need good, safe places to be. So I have a well-rounded but a very personal interest in the situation. I do want to say that I'm available to help with the solution that I have, and even if you don't have, even if you don't take me up on the solution that I'm offering, you know, to come up with some sort of alternative other than the dismissal motion shows that you guys do really care. You presented today people that cared for their neighbors, loving your neighbors. So I think that you have the capacity to do something apart from the dismissal motion. The last thing I have to say is that the heart posture and the attitude of the people within the agency has to change. Court watching, they sat there and used valuable taxpayer time and dollars to complain to the judge that because we're speaking out publicly against needing these changes, and while I'm not, talking about bad attitudes like things that, they have a right to feel and say or whatever, because they have a right to feel and say things, but to sit there and complain to a judge that they don't feel like they can do their jobs because we're speaking out is inappropriate. That's not telling me that you want to address the things that need to be changed and then change them, because we're not doing it because of our egos or pride or because of past hurts. We're doing it because kids are being hurt now, and that's not fair to them. We have to be the adults in the situation, and I'm looking forward to hopefully working with you guys on that. So I do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
What she said, and for the children of Harnett County, I hope that you guys take it seriously and have the attitude change in that social services department.
Thank you.
Mr. Alan Long.
My name is Alan Longman, 234 Hamilton Road, Bond Level. The reason for me talking is because I just heard the excuse as to why the government that failed was your government. The federal government did not help. They have military, they could have sent goods and supplies and even food to the area and did not do that, and they're in control of that now. You also have state government, which is left now to handle problems that FEMA used to have. You promised that the legislature would go and deliver money. Where is it? Is it going to be delivered now, or are these the two government failures? The other problem we had, and I discussed, was the school system. The school system is having very much problems with the safety of their children. One of the problems is you have a metal detector that doesn't work. Is it still not working? Were there kickbacks, and that's why you can't get the firm to come in and calibrate it? The other thing is that children have been hurt in the school. One woman, one female was grabbed by the throat and left marks on her throat by a boy. The point is, nothing was addressed to this, and she had to stay home for a while. Now, you have other problems too. You had a woman, a female student, who went to a guidance counselor, a male guidance counselor, peed in her pants. That's how afraid she was. Yet, when she goes and is forced to visit him, there is no female person or adult that goes in with them to make sure she's safe. Now you want to go out and get the children for the parents for not bringing their kids to school. There are kids that are not, who are nationalities are different, and they don't have the same religions as us, that are doing their studying at home study, because they're afraid and uncomfortable in our school system. We need to do something about the safety of our schools. Further, I lost a minute, it seems. Anyway, further is that you want the polling and voting to be done in the churches. The reason why you can't have that is that because county laws don't apply there. The other thing is there's no way of enforcing the election law at all. They can put any literature they want and handle everything any way they wish. Also, statistically shows that because the Republican Party represents a Christian church and Christian nationalism, also abortion, and also family values, people who are going to these churches will significantly vote differently for the Republican Party than they will if they were inside a school. This is proven and needs to be challenged. All right, the other problem is you had a Mrs. Scarborough. Mrs. Scarborough went to trial. She's been here talking on the commissions about what happened to her. But let's get on what happened in the trial. Mr. Scarborough did not ask for those complaints to be made against her, a protections order. He testified that it was the Sheriff Coates that called him up and said, we have to do something about your wife. He has alliances with certain political individuals who wanted to run for office, Simpkins being one of them. And they were friends of her husband, and she did not want them in politics. That is why all these orders were asked to be taken out. And as he asked Mr. Scarborough to take out an order against his wife that something had to be done, he also asked others to do the same. The stalking incidents, one of the people who the evidence shows is stalking is the sheriff himself. Mr. Scarborough, at the end of the session, stated that he did not know that taking out these orders would cause her so much harm. She was arrested, put in a cell full of feces. We have the pictures, and was 2 containers of pepper spray was sprayed through her nostrils and into her lungs. She also was told she was violent, so that when the people came to arrest her at the election, they went and took her and they threw her against the cement. The husband asked and was apologizing for what he had done, and this was supported. The other thing, my wife was threatened by Detective Weaver. He also dressed in garb in the courtroom that day to intimidate Angela Scarborough, and said to my wife, "You should be afraid. This is a threat to us inside a courtroom. We're supposed to be protected. My wife's life is in danger, and there's nothing I could do about it, and you're not doing anything about the sheriff's department."
Mr. Larry Mitchell.
Good evening, Commissioners and County Manager. My name's Larry Mitchell, 478 Century Drive in Cameron. The neighborhood is Lexington Plantation. I'd like to talk in spirit of the FY 25-26 budget. Ms. Honeycutt, the finance officer, gave me a schedule of events that's going to take place this summer concerning the budget. So as I was sitting here, I saw Sheriff Coates, and we had a couple of meetings ago talk about providing a $1 fee for retiring deputies. I'd like the board to consider having a small fund for that occasion when we have retired deputies. That's a very special moment in one's life when they retire like that. Talking about the budget, I'll be talking more about budget when I come up again at the podium. But I've been talking to Miss Lindsay Hardy. She's the Director of Career and Technical Education here at the Harnett County Schools. I'm very interested in the Trades and Industrial Education Department or vocational training. And I can relate back to this, and I have my certificate from 1970 in Maryland when I went to automotive training for 2 years, my 11th and 12th grade. This thing's 55 years old. And what happened after this document really changed my life, because the Army got me right out of high school. I took my battery of tests, and they wanted me to be military police, but I didn't want to do that. So my test scores were high enough because of this education from the vocational school that I went into aviation. And I like to really consider having aviation in our schools here. I talked to Ms. Hardy through email contact, and she talks about the Perkins legislation that provides specific protocol for federal and state funds called the CLNA, which funds mostly this program. We have an assessment coming up in July of 25, and it's appropriate at that time to study and the local and regional labor market for aviation. And I think we really need to participate in that. We do have a foundation here in the county for aviation, and that's the Harnett County Schools CTE program. We have a jetport. We also have a community college, and we have funding by the federal and state. Today, at the when I was doing the volunteer at the front desk, we have the FY 24-25 budget, and it's 369 pages. It's a lot of information, and I can say you did a real good job compared to what I saw in Virginia when I went to their county meetings. So it's a very good document, easy to read for me. So I really appreciate it. The Harnett.org, if the citizens go to that, they can read the same document and look at how we set priorities for funding in our county. And number one, we fund safety, number one, with law enforcement, fire, EMS, the 911 emergency center, and animal services. I think we need to promote education to number two. We have human services as number two for FY 24-25, but I think we need to elevate education, because in this year we might not know what's going to happen with the federal government removing Department of Education and moves down to the state. So we have to be careful and see what happens with education and get that funded appropriately. Again, I hope we get aviation into our vocational schools, our career and technical education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jerry, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, Mr. Matthew Tucker. Mr. Tucker, are you gonna speak on the zoning issue that's on?
I'm not speaking directly to any specific zoning
Okay,
issue.
okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Tucker, 49 Country Haven Lane, community of Rawls area, Fuquay Arena. As he mentioned, I'm actually a member, I'm an alternate member of the planning board. There's a property coming up tonight that my family is involved with. I've recused myself completely from that property discussion in the planning board, but I did want to speak about what we do on the planning board and what we look at when we do consider planning board issues. I want to thank the commissioners and the staff that are here tonight. I also want to thank Jay Sykes and Sarah, who are probably going to be speaking later, for their hard work. I see it every month on the planning board. We look at a lot of different properties that come up for rezoning, and they have a tough job and they do a great job providing the information we need to make good decisions. For those here that aren't familiar, the zoning and rezoning process is guided by our Unified Development Ordinance. The last one we adopted was in 2011, and it's actually being updated now through the Harnett Horizons process. Both of these ordinances have designated areas that the county has decided should be commercialized areas to help encourage commercial development in our county. Anybody who's driven around northwest Harnett County specifically has seen a tremendous growth in residential construction and development. However, residents moving here puts a strain on both our education, utility, and as well as our police forces. So to keep up with that, we really need to start encouraging a little bit more commercial development to keep our Harnett County tax dollars here, rather than these people building here in Harnett County, then driving 15, 20, 30 minutes to Wake County to spend their money. So some of those areas include 401, 421, 210, 87, all these major throughways in our county are excellent areas for commercial growth that get high traffic and can handle the volume. We need this commercial development to help keep our tax dollars local. We need to allow our residents of Harnett County to be able to spend their tax dollars here. And it's really usually the only way forward without raising property taxes. I encourage our commissioners and the community at large to support commercial development wherever it benefits the community. We've spent a lot of money as a county on our last UDO. We're spending a lot of money on Harnett Horizons, and we've spent a lot of time getting public input and comment to help make these decisions. I hope everybody makes sure to keep that in mind when they make votes, not just tonight, but on any properties in the future. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Reeves.
All right, Jerry Rivas, longtime resident of Harnett County. First item I want to speak about is the resolution from the last meeting that was tabled. It was a resolution to remove Western Harnett High School as a polling place. I think it was poorly presented, it was poorly thought out, and it was poorly planned. Now, Commissioner Nichols had mentioned something about using the YMCA on Highway 87 as an alternate for early voting. That place is always packed. That parking lot is nowhere near as big as the parking lot at the high school, and it's a traffic nightmare in that particular part of Highway 87. It's in the state constitution that we use schools. We've been using Western Harnett for a number of years, and it's worked out okay. Now, some people have said there's a problem with school security. What if somebody does something bad on one of those 17 early voting days? What about the other 163 days of the year? You have one school resource officer there. He's an older gentleman. I mean, I'm surprised they don't give him a hover-around scooter to get from one end of the building to the other, because in the event of an emergency, it would take this old fella quite a while. Secondly, there is no security in any of our schools. Using that word in conjunction with Harnett County schools is a joke. There's like 30 temporary huts out behind Highland with no bathroom facilities. When a child has to use the restroom, they got to walk outside, walk a long way to the back door of Highland High School, which is unlocked, go in, use the restroom, then walk back to that temporary hut unaccompanied. It's ridiculous. Also at the last meeting, a gentleman, and I don't see him here, made the comment that if people don't like jail, maybe they shouldn't get arrested. That is like one of the most incredibly stupid and thoughtless comments I have ever made. I checked today, and I guess I'm an unusual Republican because I'm strictly against the death penalty. The Innocence Project has freed over 300 people from prison, 23 of those from death row. They've been exonerated by DNA. So don't anybody try to tell me that there are no innocent people in jail, because it happens every day in this country. Lastly, the problems that we've been having for years now with the Sheriff's Department. In Riley County, Kansas, which was the county next to where I grew up, and Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, they kind of solved that problem. They abolished the office of sheriff, and they have county police departments. And if we would do something like that, then you and you 5 commissioners would be responsible for hiring or firing a chief if he did not live up to the laws and your expectations. And that would eliminate all the politics, because is the best qualified person for the job of sheriff the best qualified? No. He's the one who spent the most money to get elected. He's the one who's, stroked other people's egos and sucked up and got a bunch of money. That would take all the politics out of it, and it would be a community police department. So I'm asking that you consider, if Mecklenburg County can do it, why can't Harnett County do it? Just a thought. Oh, one other thing. There was a Harnett County deputy involved in a shooting a couple of days ago, and I would like to know, is there body camera footage? Is there dash cam footage? Probably not. Or if there is, we'll never see it.
All right, Mr. Johnny, is that Shelton?
Chan.
Yeah. Okay.
Just wanted to speak about the proposed zoning changes, or no? Or is that later?
There'll be a separate hearing for that in a few minutes if you'd like to wait.
I can talk then. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, Greg Bagley.
Speaking for the public hearing.
Okay, all right. All right. Annie Cameron.
Good evening. My name is Annie Cameron, and I live at 4691 Bunlevel Irwin Road in Irwin. And on January 15th, I sent all the commissioners, the representatives Coley and the state representatives an email. And I guess a lot of people don't check their spam mail since I'm not on occasion in your regular email person. But I sent you an email regarding the water that's standing around my mother's house at 4691 Bunlevel Irwin Road in the Riverside community. We met with the commissioners a few times in the past regarding the water, and we also saw and appreciate the survey or the project that Weatherners and Ravenel did for the community. And we were told that we will have some response back by the 31st. They will give everyone time enough to work through the DOT and everything. So we haven't heard anything back. And I would like to, I'm really begging the commissioners, we cannot, if you saw my email, we cannot wait. My mother's house cannot wait until all the grant money is found to do something about the water that's standing around her house. There's, as noted in the email, right now, because of the rain we got over the weekend, the septic tank cover is underwater. We had someone to come in and clear the mold from under the house. We had the crawl space, draped in the plastic and everything to make it dry. But that's going to be a waste of money because the water now is almost to the edge of the foundation. If you pass by my mother's house, you notice that we have put platforms there leading to the gas tank because the gas man can't get to the gas tank to put gas in the tank. We've been told there are beavers, and we have to get property owners permission to go onto their property to remove the beavers. We have to have something done. We need something done. And that's all I have to say. Oh, I did receive one email back, and that was from Representative Pike. No one else has acknowledged my email, so I would appreciate some movement. We know it's going to take a lot of money, it's going to take time, but we don't have time. Our houses are going under. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Kevin Matthews, are you speaking at the public hearing? Did you want to speak in both, or is it your intention?
Just in reference to number 7.
Okay, all right.
Now?
No, when the public hearing comes up. Okay, how about Ms. Foley?
It's a zoning issue, sir.
Ma'am?
Just a rezoning issue, sir.
Rezoning issue. Okay.
Thank you.
You'll all get a chance to speak then. Paula Havley?
Rezoning.
Okay, we're gonna give y'all all a chance to speak in another line item here in a few minutes.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on, Mr. Matthews, would there be any possible way that you could get a survey to the students about their interest in aviation at some point in time?
Sure, yeah, I made a note of that when Mr. Mitchell mentioned it. Yes, sir.
Ms. Cameron?
Yes.
Mr. Price, we'll talk to you at the break. He's the assistant manager overseeing that project, and maybe he can enlighten you where we're at on it. Mr. Price, right here on the front row. Okay. And have no other public comment. This time we'll close the public comment period and move on to item number 7. Proposed zoning change. Case number plan 2412-0001. Landowner applicant is TFD Incorporated, Jonathan Tucker, 8.5 acres from RA30 to commercial zoning in Heckler's Creek Township, the intersection of State Road 1415, Ross Church Road, and US 401. This time we'll ask staff to speak.
Right, thank you so much for that, Commissioner Morris, and good evening, Commissioners. Sarah Arbor, Harnett County Development Services. So the property, as Commissioner Morris has stated, we've received a petition to rezone from the RA30 zoning district to the commercial. Property is approximately 8.5 acres. It's located at the intersection of Ross Church Road and US 401 North. So the property is currently vacant. It's bounded on the western property line by a 100-foot railway right-of-way. Surrounding land uses consist of single-family residences and various non-residential uses, such as a church and the turf and tractor supply facility located just to the north and the east of this property. So staff will provide a little bit of background about the property. If this property looks familiar, there was a petition to rezone the property that was brought before the commissioners. That petition was to rezone the property to commercial as well. It was back in December of 2023. We did have several neighboring property owners who expressed many concerns. It seemed as though the primary concern at that time was related to traffic. Just so the commissioners are aware, there has been a traffic light since installed at this intersection. And back in 2022, there's approximately 72 acres of adjacent land that was zoned commercial. So it's just across from the property on US 401 North. Next, we'll take a look at the services available for the site. There's public water available. It's unverified at this time whether there will be sewer available for the property or not. Traffic counts for the section of US 401 North are about 8,200 trips a day and about 2,100 daily trips along the section of Ross Church Road. Next, we'll take a look at the zoning district compatibility map. You can see the large section of commercial zoning that is located just to the east across from US 401 North. Next, we'll take a look at the land use classification compatibility map. And you can see this property is located in our employment mixed use land use classification, which is a development node here in Harnett County, which does encourage commercial development. If you take a look over at the chart that's provided, you can see that the uses which are permitted in the commercial zoning district are compatible with the underlying land use. Staff has provided several photos of the site for your review. And through staff's evaluation, staff found that the request was compatible with the underlying land use, employment, mixed use. It's located along a major thoroughfare, and there are utilities available to the site, so staff is recommending approval. At the February 3rd Planning Board hearing, the Planning Board did vote unanimously 4-0 to approve the requested rezoning to commercial. We did have one resident who was who did speak at the Planning Board hearing. They had concerns about the property potentially being developed as a Dollar General. So staff is open for any questions. Thank you.
Questions for staff? You mentioned the Dollar General. There's one almost in eyesight of that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. At this point, is there anyone who wants to speak in support of the rezone?
Good evening, everyone. Commissioners, thank you for your time tonight. My name is Jonathan Tucker, here on behalf of TFD Incorporated. I filed the petition to rezone 141 Country Haven Lane, Fuquay Riverina's address. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Would like to also take the opportunity to thank zoning staff for their thoughtful consideration of our application and the recommendation for approval, as well as the zoning board for their unanimous approval. This decision to rezone it has the potential to create new economic opportunities while balancing responsible growth with the need of our Rawls community. My family, I grew up in this area. I grew up 1 mile down the road from this intersection. My family still lives there. My brothers live there. My nieces and nephews live there. This is where we all grew up, and we've worked our entire life to be able to get to the point where we can buy property, develop it, and contribute positively to the community that we live in. So part of this would be rezoning this rezoning would bring much needed commercial development to our area, fostering job creation and local economic growth. It will increase employment opportunities and expand our tax base, generating additional revenue that can be reinvested into schools, infrastructure, and essential services. As everyone knows, Harnett County's population is growing rapidly, and it's crucial that we plan ahead to support both our residents and our economy. This rezoning should be just about the facts, kind of so eloquently laid out by zoning staff. Harnett County's paid tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for multiple comprehensive use plans, studies, countless hours of staff planning, research, thousands of public comments over the last 20 plus years that have all come to the same logical conclusion, which is that this area is a desirable location for commercial growth. And in fact, the board itself recognized this when voting to rezone the Revels property directly across Highway 401 in '22. And we just humbly ask to be given the same equal consideration as that property. We purchased this land in 2023 from the previous landowners who also recognized the value to the community of this land being commercial. They had worked trying to bring in a commercial business to that property. Ultimately, it didn't work out, but, we're not the only people that recognize that the role that commercial business at this intersection could play. Over the last few weeks, I've reached out to a lot of people. I've had a lot of people reach out to me. We're not just some nameless Raleigh corporation or mega developer. We're local folks who grew up in this community, and we want to be able to give back. Most of the folks I've talked to who originally came to me with issues about this, first concern was that we would put a Dollar General there. I can say to you that is not going to happen. There's 1.2 miles down the road. We did not build it. In fact, the developers of that, a corporation out of Raleigh, they do things the cheapest possible way they can do it. And if you drive by that Dollar General, you can see it's not taken care of. Property design was horrendous. And that's not the kind of work we do. This rezoning aligns with the county's long-term vision for sustainable development. as demonstrated in both the currently adopted comprehensive use plan and in the proposed one under review. All the drafts I've seen in the upcoming one recognizes that you need to have centralized areas for commercial growth to prevent sprawl. Village of Rawls is probably going to be one of those areas. As someone who grew up in the area, I understand the problem of having all these homes that we've rebuilt or that we've built in the area, that it is easier for them to get to Fuquay and Holly Springs, even with all the traffic, to shop and spend their money. I would love to see that money stay here so that we can build more schools, we can improve our roads, we can improve our economic opportunities for the folks who live here and grow up here. So I encourage you to consider the positive impact this rezoning will have on Harnett County. We do not currently have any plans, specific plans. Our intent is to rezone it and work in a collaborative manner to bring positive commercial growth in a responsible way to Rawls. Thank you for your time and your thoughtful consideration, and I respectfully urge you to vote in favor of this rezoning. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else who wants to speak for this issue?
Hey, good evening. My name's Jeff Zimmer. This is the first one of these I've ever been to, so you have to excuse me. I'm a little bit simple. I've known the Tuckers for 30 years. Good family. And when they first bought this property in 23, I hadn't been up here because I was just shocked that it wasn't just turned into commercial anyway, because if anybody looks at that, where it's located with the railroad tracks behind it, I mean, it's really the only thing it really could be. I live in Harnett County. I've raised 5 kids in Harnett County. I've got 6 grandchildren in Harnett County. I'm the guy that drives to Wake County and spends my money. I'd love to have something a little bit closer that I can spend my money and tax dollars here is to grow this for the schools for my kids and my grandchildren. I look at things like the 1,800 plus homes in Serenity, like a quarter mile from that place around the corner. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to Fuquay or go into Raleigh, spend their money. We've got, I've got Revels right down the road. We got storage buildings galore within a couple miles from now. I'm just not understanding why we're not bringing anything where we can actually spend our money and eat and do things, that most people do every day. So anyway, I'd just like for you guys can, look at this logically, and we need more places to spend our money with all these homes and stuff here. I'm tired of driving 25 minutes, just to go get groceries. So anyway, I appreciate you guys' consideration. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak in support of the issue?
Hi, my name is Kimberly Pruitt, and I live at 135 Country Haven Lane. I've known Matthew since I think he was like 10 years old, something like that. John. Matt. Anyway, so we get over that. But I think that this piece of property should definitely be rezoned commercial. I think it's an ideal location to put up a nice little strip center where people can go and get their nails done or get their hair cut or buy groceries. I live right down the road from there. They just put in the stoplight, which has been, thank goodness that has been done, because we really needed that. But I just think that it would be so beneficial to the community itself. And to not allow this, because we want economic growth in Harnett County. And I think that's everyone's goal. And we've got so many homes. Right around the corner from us, they're putting in 165 homes right there on Purfoy Road. It's crazy the amount of homes that are being built, but commercially, we're not meeting that growth with the homes that are being built. And I think it's important that that happens so that we don't have to go to Holly Springs. We don't have to drive to Fuquay, because I know that every one of you know how the traffic is in Fuquay these days. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. And then you go drive 20 minutes or 30 minutes to Holly Springs, and that's fine, well, and dandy. But I'd much rather drive 5 minutes down the road to what I want to do or, what I need to get than have to drive 20 minutes. So anyway, that's my feeling. I hope that you will take into consideration to rezone this to a commercial piece of property. Thank you for listening.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak for this, support of this issue? Please come forward, ma'am.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate the opportunity to meet every one of you. I'm an old woman. I was born in Raleigh, raised in Fuquay, moved there at a young age. My mother was raised here. My grandmother and grandfather cropped tobacco and cotton with another man, and they co-founded and shared the money, and my grandmother and grandfather later moved to Smithfield and bought land there and had tobacco and cotton. Myself, I speak for all the senior citizens in this area. It's ridiculous for us to get out on Highway 55 to go to Holly Springs, to go to Target. That's a 30-minute or 40-minute or 45-minute, depending on the traffic, to go to Holly Springs, to go to Target, or to go to any shopping centers or anything. And to go to Raleigh is almost unspeakable. Y'all are going to be my age one day, and you'll appreciate what I'm saying. It's hard on the young people that don't know how to drive to Holly Springs to get the shopping done or to get the groceries or whatever they got to get. We need some type of store or business here that will help everyone and benefit the community and the revenue for the state also. So I do apologize. I'm just a plain-spoken woman. I'm a grandma, great-grandma, and I love my children. I love everybody. And I would like for y'all, when you consider this signing for it to be commercial property, I would really appreciate it because it's close to where I live. And I thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, anybody else want to speak in support of this issue? Okay, recognizing none at this time, is there anyone who would like to speak against this issue? I'm gonna start right here with this gentleman on the end there.
Yeah, I'm Johnny Shanton, 492 Hilliard Road, Fuquay. I'm right near the Rawls Church and the 401 intersection. What I understood was it was going to be a Dollar General. If it's not, that's great. But I guess my whole purpose in getting up here is just to state that with growth, it's going to happen. The light there was great. I'm glad we have that. But with growth, we also have to show caution in how we grow because sometimes that growth doesn't always result in good things. And I just pulled up a few things today, and this is in relation to the stores that are like Dollar General. And again, if they're not going in there, that's great. But still, there could be other things too that could cause these types of issues. So I'm just going to throw them out there. But again, we just need to exercise caution in development when it happens. And for me, at least, I grew up out in the country, and preserving rural areas is also important. So growth happens, but some of the stuff that I pulled up just when I was looking up Dollar General and pulled up some studies and stuff in relation to these types of small like dollar stores, there's some stuff that's involved with, their building that's not always good. Some of it's crime related, some of it's median home value going down, and it's been seen all over the country. So as far as that goes, there's an NPR article from 2024 in July that says discount chain has been targeted for robberies and violent crime. There's a CNN article dated March 2024 where they're going into Dollar General specifically. They were setting up self-checkout studies, and they had maybe 20,000 stores. Over those 20,000 that they put, almost half of them, they added these self-checkout areas. They aggressively backed out and started, removing those because they thought it would reduce labor costs and speed up checkout for customers. The result, though, was higher shoplifting and merchandise loss. There's a CBS article from September 2023. Just the article of it was, as dollar stores spread across the nation, crime and safety concerns follow. There's another article from Midwest article. It's called Investigate Midwest from July 2024. The title of its impact on grocery stores and other small businesses with the influx of dollar stores in rural landscapes. And what they said was that the USDA found that the likelihood of rural grocery stores would exit the area after a dollar store moved in, it was 3 times greater than in urban areas. And again, that was the USDA. There's 2 studies, and I'll finish this. There's a Chicago study that said that in 2024, a study used Chicago as a sample to determine whether patterns of violent crime were in fact correlated with dollar store entry. The author found that there was an average 21.5% increase in the number of total violent crimes after dollar stores openings in the immediate vicinity. The direct impact these stores have is made undeniably by the study's finding that once a dollar store closed, the violent crime levels in the vicinity dropped to the levels that existed before the store opened. The other study I saw was from DeKalb County, Georgia, not as populated as, I guess, Chicago area, but DeKalb retained Georgia State University to study the socioeconomic effects of the stores in the territory. Study found that crime increased within 100 foot of the dollar stores and that the presence of the stores are significantly correlated with both property and violent crimes. Crime rates were particularly startling in areas where dollar stores are clustered together. Additionally, a study found that dollar stores negatively impacted the median home values, where grocery stores had the opposite effect. So based on these results, DeKalb County amended its zoning ordinances in 2022 to address the crime activity that the study found to be significantly correlated with dollar stores, and similar measures have been taken by municipalities and states, including Ohio, Michigan, and Oklahoma. So as far as those types of stores, do we really need another dollar store when we got one 3 miles down the road toward Fuquay and 1.5 miles down toward Lillington from the intersection? I doubt it. Again, development's going to happen, but I think that we just need to show caution when we develop and determine what we're actually putting in places, because I think that anybody living in those areas, if they're going to increase crime by adding something like a dollar store or something else like that, I mean, Rebels isn't going to probably have a lot of crime hanging out, but there's other stuff that would be. So I just think we need to show caution when we're looking at developing stuff, and that's it.
Thanks, sir. All right, who else would like to speak against this issue? Mr. Matthews.
Good evening. Name's Kevin Matthews. Live at 5363 Rawls Church Road, which backs up to the railroad track that's across from this piece of property that's in question. Some 16 months ago, I stood here in an attempt to get 2 things done. One was to stop the ongoing onslaught of developers having free rein to do whatever they choose to do in District 4. They all were in Northwest Harnett. And the second thing was to get this board to use its power and influence to get an operable stoplight at the intersection of Highway 401 and Rawls Church Road. Both of these things were accomplished, and the intersection is now much, much safer. There is no telling how many crashes have been prevented by your work. How many broken bones have been stopped, and how many lives have been saved with just the addition of that traffic light that you used your influence to have put at that intersection. You all did great work getting that light put up. It took some time. I'm a little bit I thought about maybe asking you to go to the well one more time and try to get one at Piney Grove Rawls Road, but that's not the subject for tonight. But with all due respect, that is the way government is supposed to work. A simple action that took y'all positively affected probably 50,000 people a day. Well, here we are, 16 months and a sweeping election later, and we're back talking about the same situation, except this time we're not talking positively about influencing the 50,000 people that pass through that intersection on a day-to-day basis, or even 1,000. What we're talking about is, once again, allowing a single commercial developer to fatten their wallet and leave the rest of us tax-paying citizens to put up with whatever it is that they decide to put up there. Nobody on this board, with all due respect, has to look out their window and see the back of whatever it is that decides to put up there. Whether it be at some point in time a later run-down type strip mall littered with trash, debris, broken pallets, the ever-present graffiti that comes with a business with no constant law enforcement presence. Seems like I remember now that we had candidates campaign on this very issue of this type of subject. And yet here we are again. 3 points I'd like to make. And this is real life. This is actually what situations that present themselves because of this. Number one, in putting some type of commercial retail establishment, whether it be a convenience store, a grocery store, a Dollar General, or God forbid another CBD smoke shop, every vehicle that's pulling out and trying to travel north will have to cross high-speed southbound traffic. How many people do you think are going to pull out onto the road and wait for 100 cars to come past? Do we suppose the developers are going to come out here and clean up the crashed debris or help the injured or the dead in the vehicles that have the wrecks out in front of this particular commercial property? Probably not. Second, I can look out of my window and see vehicles on a week-by-week basis park at the Rawls Baptist Church parking lot and do hand-to-hand transactions, one right after the other. It's not the deputy's fault. They can't be at all places at all times. But if it can't be controlled in a small parking lot like Rawls Baptist Church, how does anybody expect that to be able to control it on a larger parking lot the size of a commercial project? Third, this commercial venture will not have any dedicated law enforcement presence. Obviously, this is not a city or town with more readily available law enforcement presence. Retail environments like this belong in an incorporated setting, such as a town or a city. The complex will have to rely on regular response times, just like the rest of us do in Harnett County. Our deputies do not have time to post up at a commercial site. When they check on in the morning, they are 2 calls behind. When they check off in the afternoon, they're still 2 calls behind. And they've been running hard all day. Wonder just how long it's going to be before this facility becomes the venue for another shooting or some other kind of high crime. Where are the developers going to be then? Oh yeah, they'll be nowhere to be found then. They'll say it's not my problem, when they are exactly the one who caused the problem in the first place. Seems to me that a whole lot of taxpayers and voting citizens Now, there are way more cons than there are pros in this rezoning into a commercial than to leave it like it is. But here's something that we would have you consider. Remember that light that you helped get installed? That's been such a good thing. And it's truly, I truly believe it's been a lifesaver. And it's at your hands that it was done. Why would you come in and absolutely undo all the good you've done? It's only been up 5 months. I probably can count on my hands how many wrecks there's been up there. But when you start running that traffic across that southbound lane going north, you're going to open that fence up again. All this for the wants of one developer and one piece of property. Y'all do the math. People in District 4 didn't want this. In fact, this is what we voted against in November. You helped and provided protection for probably 50,000 people a day. Let's not just throw it away because of the demands of one lone developer. Thank you for your time. And with that, I yield the floor.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak against? Come forward, ma'am.
I'm definitely not as tall as you are. Forgive me. Thank you, board members, for giving us a moment to speak our piece as well. We really appreciate it. There are a few people that I'm trying to speak in light of today, not just myself. There's a family at 428 Hilliard Road, the Williams family. They can't be here today for a family emergency. And the family at 145 Jared Drive also can't be here tonight due to a family emergency. But they gave me a few topics to add so that I can also speak to what their concerns are. First and foremost, our biggest concern was that it was a high potential that it was going to be a Dollar General, so thank you for taking that concern off the table for us. I'll save the board that time. Additionally, the fact that it is potentially being rezoned for commercial adds a great liability to the congestion and the traffic, as the gentleman before me had mentioned. As a resident on Jared Drive, we obviously drive through that intersection several times during the daytime. Every single time that we have driven through there, there is a potential for an accident. We get crashes there all the time, and of course you have fixed that problem with that traffic light. Now, if we rezone the property just south of that intersection, or technically on that intersection in the corner, if we rezone that into commercial, we have simply moved that problem south. So now we still have the same concern, driving across traffic, trying to make sure that we can make those turns. People driving already fast enough through that intersection. Now there's another crash possibility right there. It doesn't seem safe to us. The congestion is already a problem. And now we're going to make it dangerous again after we just tried to fix that danger with that traffic light. Let's see. They wanted me to mention that putting stores on it is going to interrupt the flow of traffic that's already considerably heavier than it should be on that road, making that road more dangerous. Instituting additional stores is a fantastic option, and we agree that there does need to be some kind of, I guess the words that escape me. We have spoken to taxes and what have you. We agree that there does need to be some kind of rezoning in some areas, what have you, but doing it in such an intersection is a terrible idea. Even further down or further up on 401 would be a better option, but doing it right on the intersection is definitely something that needs to be reconsidered. Forgive me, let me just make sure I've mentioned all of the things that they requested. Oh, they also wanted me to mention that we do prefer to keep the area as rural as possible, and driving a few minutes down the street to shop in Anger, to the Food Lions and what have you in Anger is perfectly fine with us, and actually where most of us go to go do our shopping, not necessarily 2 miles up the street into Wake County. But again, there's plenty of shopping in that area as well. We do not need something on this intersection. The convenience factor is not something that needs to go above the safety factor in this intersection. Thank you for your time, and I apologize for any disorganization.
This time, is there anyone who wants to speak against this? Seeing none, this time move to come out of public hearing. Is there a comments or a motion on the floor from the other commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we put the vote to the next meeting when we have all 5 board members here.
Okay. Second it.
I'll second.
The motion has been made and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, Madam Clerk. Of course, that means you'll have to advertise the next meeting as a voting meeting.
Will do.
Just wondering, the people that aren't here, do they hear the minutes
Yes,
this week?
yes. Well, Mr., let me say this for those of you who don't know, he's asked a good question. Mr. Nickel has a fever. He's not here, but I can assure you he's watching. If not, he has between now and next Tuesday to watch. Ms. McCoy's traveling to a funeral, and I'm sure it'll be next week before she sees it, but she will be able to see and hear every one of your comments. Yes, sir, Mr. Tucker.
So it'll be the next public meeting, not the work session?
No, we're going to advertise next Tuesday as a voting meeting, so that way.
And it'll be no public hearing?
No, it'll just be the vote. Nobody has to wait another month to get a resolution to this. Did that answer what you wanted me?
Next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday, yes.
February 25th at 9 a.m.
AM. We advertise that as our work session as a voting meeting. It's just like doing it at night. Okay? All right? All right, having no other questions involving this matter, we'll move on to the next public hearing. Proposed zoning change plan 2501-0001 applicant C. Sorry, did somebody say something? CLCA LLC, Chris Patterson and C. Gregory Bailey, 4.3 acres in Upper Little River Township, 421 and State Road 1265. Go ahead, Mr. Farrell.
Right, thank you so much, Commissioner Morris. So the property is a 4.5 acre property located at the intersection of Cool Springs Road and US 421 North in Lillington. And the applicant is applying to rezone from the RA20R to the commercial zoning district. As this property is a vacant, unapproved site, which was previously used for agricultural purposes. The site has frontage along US 421 North and Cool Springs Road. The property is located in a mixed-use area. Surrounding land uses consist of single-family residences, agricultural activities, as well as various non-residential uses. This property is located directly behind the Boone Trail Fire Department. There's a Dollar General, a Family Dollar, a gas station, and a health clinic, all located there at the same intersection, just to the south. So in terms of services available for the property, there's water. The property would have to rely on private septic system. There are, 8,400 daily trips along US 421 North and about 1,000 for the section of Cool Springs Road, and site distances for the property are described as good. We'll take a look at the zoning district compatibility map. You can see that there is commercial zoning located just to the south of this property along US 421 North. Next, we'll take a look at the land use classification compatibility. You can see this property is located again in one of our development nodes of Rural Center. So the uses which are permitted within the commercial zoning district are compatible with the underlying feature land use. Staff has provided several photos of the site for your review. Okay, and through staff's evaluation, staff was able to answer everything in the affirmative. We found that it was compatible with the underlying land use, as well as the uses in the area, and staff is recommending approval. At the planning board meeting on February 3rd, the planning board voted unanimously to recommend approval of this as well. There was nobody present at the meeting to speak in opposition. So that's all from staff. So let me know if you have any questions.
Questions for staff? All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
All right, this time we're going to public hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak in behalf of this issue? Floor's yours, Mr. Bud.
My name is Greg Bagley, and I'm a civil engineer that's helping Mr. Patterson go through this process of trying to get this rezoned. Really don't have that much to tell you this in addition to what she's already done such a good job of. But I just wanted to present our situation and let you know that we will be glad to answer any questions you might have about it. And if there's any concerns, we try to answer them. So that's really all we need to offer you at this time.
Any questions, gentlemen? Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wants to speak on behalf of this issue? Hearing none, at this time, is anyone who wants to speak against this issue? This time, hearing none, move to come out of closed session, public hearing, and, are you gonna make the same motion?
Well, we don't have any opposing on this.
Yeah, we can.
I would make a motion, we approve the zoning change.
Second. That motion has been made and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, Madam Clerk. All right, item number 9, discuss and consider the City of Dunn's funding request regarding the 2025 Diamond Youth 2A Baseball World Series. Mr. Elm? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll start with a little bit of information. So I had a conversation with Ms. Elmore about this particular issue. We looked at the project, how they were going forward with it, ask a few questions. Look at it as a major undertaking, and I understand better now what they're looking to do. The issue that we're looking at is some costs related to additional police and EMS time that they will have at the during the event. As we look at it, I think it's something that, we weren't approached at the beginning of this process, but it is something that they're outlining as a need that they have as they continue down the road of looking at the additional costs that they'll have. A couple of things that we found out that I look at when if the board were to consider this, we can wait until next year's budget to approve this because the event happens in July. We can make the contribution. We can move through the normal budget process rather than having to take from something else or fund balance. Now we can incorporate it into the budget next time around. One thing I would look at, we have had a history of not necessarily funding nonprofit organizations, given that most of the expense that was relayed to me that they're looking at having us cover is related to the City of Dunn. We could look at a contribution to the City of Dunn to support the event that they're having a lot of expense to put on as support of the event. So, and I answer any questions that I may have, or Ms. Elmore can talk any other issues that you may have for questions.
All right, questions from the board?
No, I would, if you need some kind of motion, I would move, we put it, as an item, line item in the next budget.
Okay.
So what is the amount of that funding request, Mr. Trout?
The request was $40,000. They showed me expenses as it relates to the hours that would be worked by EMS personnel and law enforcement personnel at a little over $37,000.
And I apologize, I should have seconded before I started discussing this. I'll second it.
So that's what they've documented to us. Tonight, Mrs. Elmore showed me there are other expenses that the City of Dunn is including into this, and we can provide that information when we go through the budget process. Also had discussion with her related to what is the Dunn Tourism putting towards this, because the City of Dunn and their tourism organization will receive a great benefit from the number of hotel rooms that will be sold during this time frame. We'll see, I think also some individuals are going to be staying in the hotel here in Lillington, which is part of District H Tourism. So there'll be some benefit as well for the county as it relates to the hotel nights that will be spent in both locations.
If I understood your motion, Mr. Jaggers, it's basically to approve this, but to include it in next year's budget. Is that right?
Yes, put it in next year's budget, but we don't know for sure yet
But that's what I was trying to
the
clarify.
amount of money that you're truly talking about.
Okay, right now, the request is 40,000, and that's what we'll start with when we look at the budget. We'll look at a line item to put that into the county commissioners fund, or your period of your project part of the budget.
Would you like to amend your motion to clarify that?
I amend my motion to clarify what he just said.
And will
Is that
that
what you
include,
do?
that's good. And that will include to the city of Dunn?
Yes.
I'm assuming what you're saying is we can send it to the city and then they can disperse it to the various agencies.
Right, what it will do is they're going to have additional overtime and hours of pay that are going to be incurred as they go through this process of putting on this event in order to support it properly. And so this is a way for us to provide help to the city of Dunn. It makes it cleaner for us.
Okay.
We give contributions and various for recreation and other types of things to the city of Dunn. It's a lot easier for us. And then that way the city of Dunn otherwise would be billing her organization for that expense or having to eat additional costs from the city of Dunn.
Well, I need something for Billy Ray to do anyhow. Okay, well, there's a motion on the floor and if that's been properly seconded. Any further discussion?
Call for a vote.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, Madam Clerk. Okay, county manager's report.
Okay, Chairman, I have a few issues that I want to discuss tonight, and then we have some approvals that are needed on a couple of items on the second page or third page of the agenda. The first item is to mention that we met with the Board of Elections a week or so ago, and from that discussion, they made the decision that they would accept the new office space that we were offering in the building that's on Alexander Avenue. And so the Board of Elections will be moving into there, and we will have the fleet, solid waste, and capital projects departments moving to where they are now next to Harnett Regional Water. This will provide them the opportunity to get all of their items under one roof and will provide much better location for them. It's handicapped accessible, and they'll have the additional space that they need and it'll make a better situation for them. So we've made that agreement. Assistant County Manager Mike Morrow is coordinating that move with them, and that should take place over the next 90 days is what we're planning. Tonight, I want to make sure everyone says hello to Tommy Burns. He started today as our new Harnett Regional Water Director, and we're excited to have him on board. And we had a good meeting today, and he's already hit the ground running and taking a look at the various projects that we have going on. I want to say a big thank you to Sean Bird, who for the last 2 months has filled in as interim director, and I think that Tommy and Sean are going to make a great team. I want to mention to the board that I will be signing a document that will be transferring Phase 2 project that we are doing for internet access that we used to have with Cloudwise. Ripple Fiber has bought Cloudwise, and they're going to be assuming that contract for the Phase 2. We are providing $2 million to them to install internet access within Little Bit Coats and some of the rural area. So we'll be working on that. I want to let you know too, we're continuing to move forward with the bond sale process related to the school at Flatwoods Middle School. Staff will be taking a trip to New York to meet with Standard & Poor and Moody's to ensure that we keep our bond capacity or maybe even get an upgrade in our bond status or our rating. So we're excited to have that opportunity to talk about the good things that are going on in Harnett County. Obviously, we have some weather coming in this week, and so stay tuned for the announcements as to whether or not county offices will be closed or delayed opening. So pay attention to that. And Chairman, I need, first item I had was a discussion, and you may want to wait. We need to appoint our Mid-Carolina Regional Council of Delegates. that may need to wait, given you have a couple that may want to weigh in on whether or not they want to be a delegate. And,
We just table that till next week.
yeah. But I do need a motion
Mr.
to,
Jackson.
it doesn't need to, you don't need any action. I can just move it back since, now, I do need a motion to approve the budget amendments as requested by the finance officer.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Well, I was waiting on you.
Well, I didn't want you spoiled.
I also need approval of a motion to approve the tax rebates, refunds, and releases as requested by the tax administrator.
Chair moves.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the last item I have tonight is a motion to approve the write-offs as of September 2024 in the amount of $184,085.36 for Harnett Regional Water.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Any further discussion?
Just one thing, I just want to so people know that this money is still collectible even though it's
Yes.
written off.
It is.
I'd like to get that on the record.
It's an accounting step that we do. It is still collectible, and we will pursue it until the end.
And thank you, Mr. Matthews, for giving me that.
New
all right.
business. Any new business to come before the body?
Did we vote?
Sir?
Did we vote?
No, I was just asking if you got any new business. If you don't,
No, I'm talking about we didn't vote on the last motion.
yeah, we voted.
I vote yeah.
You vote yeah.
Okay.
Approved?
Approved.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, new business.
Call him out.
The only thing I would bring up is Coley. I got to looking on GIS on this flooding issue in Riverside. Everything from 17, Ropage Road 1779, which is Bun Level Irwin Road, from there to the Cape Fear River is corporate owned. Have we sent them a notification that their ditch has not been maintained and it's flooding adjoining property owners?
That's what we're doing right now.
Okay, I figured you were on it, but I wanted to.
Yeah, we're fixing to do surveys to pinpoint exactly where that's at. I have been in touch with DOT as well. They have done ground truthing as far as where the pipes are at and what culverts need to be cleaned out. And then we'll go to the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that with us right now is done in the hydraulic.
That's fine. As long as somebody's thought about that, you can get Ms. Cameron up to date on that. Mr. Counselor, is there a need for a closed session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, that's a good idea. Does anybody else got a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
All right, all those in favor, stand up and go home.